Hello, Rattly Besties. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Anna and I like to make writing content here on YouTube and just share my projects and everything like that. This video is going to be a huge writing update, a writing sort of mid-year freak out, if that makes sense. It's literally the end of July and I'm like, when did that happen? I don't know. So I'm very excited to be kind of reflecting on what I've achieved so far this year and also what I hope to continue to achieve during the next half of 2025. And Puppy is here. Say hi. Her name's Lady if you haven't met her, but she is here for the chats. Do you want to say anything? No, she does not. She just wants to eat my mic. But let's go ahead and get on to the video. Alrighty, so as a sort of general life writing update, I just came home from a writing retreat trip to South Korea with bestie Ashley Faye. It was so fun, and of course I have that vlog already uploaded. If you guys haven't checked that out, please go check that out. I worked so hard on that vlog. And during that time, we kind of took a break from our big projects and instead focused on writing a short story, which was like a romance short story, which you actually can now read on my writing website, annanew.com. Definitely go read it for free. That would mean the world. But that was so fun. So I came home last week and literally the day after I flew home. It was like 8 a.m. on a Sunday. And the next day I was starting my new internship at a law firm and it was crazy and I was so tired and so disorientated and it was like the worst day of my life, not gonna lie. Internships freak the heck out of me, but it's only a 1 day a week internship because I am studying full time because as well as the internship being the next day, my whole uni semester started, so yeah. And if you don't know, I'm studying law full time. I'm doing law and also a degree in international relations and government. So it's a handful always. So yeah, basically I just got back from Korea and I'm starting a new semester already at uni. Also recently, you must have seen my huge documentary vlog of Project.bb, which is a fantasy story that I have just completed. I wrote 100,000 words in around 3 or so months. So that was actually a crazy thing. So I'm very glad I was able to take a break during that trip from that project, but I have lots of updates with Project BB. Oh my goodness. But looking over my 2025 big video that I did at the start of the year, I kind of just watched it and it was so nice. I was like brunette then, so it was so interesting seeing how I've changed to blonde. My roots are growing out, so just don't look at them. But yeah, I was looking through my 2025 goal video and I was actually really pleasantly surprised at like what I was saying in that video and kind of what I wanted this year to be, because I feel like it definitely has been that sort of year. And I kind of said how I wanted more of a sort of go with the flow, process based, sort of spontaneous, but also slow, see how you go sort of year. And I just wanted to be like a writer and kind of just love whatever project I'm working on at that moment and just switch when I wanted to and kind of just really embrace all the ups and downs of being a writer of many projects. And I've literally already forgotten, whoopsie, but this year's motto has been trust the process, which I definitely think has been the case. And I think that sort of motto really does reflect on like the vibe I've been in right now and kind of like how I've went through my projects and kind of gone through writing this whole year. But my kind of more core writing goals for this year was to write 2 different drafts. One of them I wanted to be a fantasy draft, a new fantasy draft, and the other one I wanted to be some sort of second draft or third draft of a manuscript such as Ghost Side. And literally I've already done one of those. I've already written a whole fantasy story, 100,000 words worth. So crazy. And of course, that's all in a vlog. Go check that out, please. My other goals included also to continue to write poetry, to write like short stories, which I have been doing. I've written kind of one half of a short story. I've written another short story, of course, in Korea. And I've been writing lots of poetry, which you can also find on my Instagram at @_AnnaNew. Make sure you go check out my poetry there. And apart from that, I didn't have any too strict goals with myself. I didn't have any word count goals, any big goals. I just definitely wanted to make writing more of a habit sort of vibe, but still taking the approach of being more chill and going with the flow and being understanding and spontaneous sometimes. And that's exactly what happened with Project BB, where at the start of the year, I was planning to write this other fantasy project, which I will be talking about soon, called Project CY, which is more of an angelic high fantasy. But I just spontaneously decided to swivel and go to a old fantasy project that I wrote at the start of my writing career, Project Blackbirds, which is sort of a Robin Hood inspired story. And that was kind of, yeah, I just went with the flow and kind of just decided to do that and reconfigured my plans from there. However, a really big update with the project, I don't even know if it's like an update, it's more just like a depressing reflection of Project BB. It is a bit difficult to talk about. It's just kind of more embarrassing than anything. My like heart is starting to race. I don't know why. I don't know. But Project BB, throughout when I was writing the book, I reached out to this particular agent who actually emailed me ages ago when I started this project, like I think a year ago or 2 years ago. She emailed me and asked if the book was done, but at that point I was working on Ghostside. So I sent her a manuscript of Ghostside, my query letter and everything, because that was when I was in the querying trenches for Ghostside. And she basically said, yeah, like it's not my vibe, but let me know if you ever finish Project BB since I'm really interested in it. I'm like, that's so cool. Like this is just a junior agent at this particular agency. I'm like, okay, that's good to keep in mind. So fast forward until this year, I started to work on Project BB. And I think it was during April, I emailed her, hey, like I'm working on this book. Let me know if you're interested. I can send you an updated synopsis and kind of where the book is at. She said, yeah. And then we kind of corresponded from there. And she seemed really passionate about it and everything. And I was so excited to send her the full manuscript, the full first draft. Again, it's a first draft. When I was finished, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I could already, like, I don't have to query, like, blah, 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 which of course, does this ever work out for me? No, nothing ever does. Anyways, so when I finish the book, I send it to her, the first draft, and I tell her, by the way, it's first draft, let me know what you think. And her response really shocked me. It really broke me as well. It was like a soul shattering sort of experience. And I remember reading it in my bed. I got the email, I'm like, no way. I was so nervous to see what she was going to say about this book. And this was the first piece of feedback I was getting from this huge manuscript from the first draft. And if you don't know, like it's usually good to take a break from your first draft and, you know, not let anyone read it until you've kind of fixed up some things and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm brave. I can do this. And yeah, again, the email I got back was not very positive. She had some good feedback, like a sentence worth, saying that she liked my dialogue and the setting and also my characters. She said they all felt really realistic. But she said she had a lot of problems with the plot and the world building, and that I had like too many elements and it didn't pull together at all. And she said how she expected it to be more of a Robin Hood retelling, like more of a strict Robin Hood retelling. Even though I kind of gave her the synopsis and I told her exactly what happened in the story, mostly. And then she went on to kind of say that I should cut all of these things from the book, including major characters, major plot points, and even the whole entire magic system. And not only that, but she went on, and this is like a lot of like words she must have put into it, but I'm like, I was so confused. And she outlines a whole entire new plot structure for my book in which she recommends me to undertake. And I was like, whoa. And I read through it and I'm like, oh my goodness, what? Because when I looked at that plot structure and I knew my book, I was like, these are two completely different books. It's not like she was saying, maybe tweak this, maybe consider this being a plot twist, maybe consider the world building being more like this. It was a completely different draft, a whole different story with different characters, different motivations, and like scrapping essentially, like, I would say like 2/3 of my book. There was some plot points that she kind of injected into her own story, but I was like, no, this was completely different. And as I was reading through kind of more of her feedback, I realized she didn't actually read the whole story. And she did say how she skimmed the last 30 pages or something. And I'm like, okay. And she was saying how she was confused about this particular point, but I'm like, girl, if you read the book, you would understand. You would understand who this person is. And that's why she was going on about the characters. And I'm like, no, you've got them completely wrong, because I could tell she hadn't fully read the book properly. So she kind of basically said a revise and resubmit would be something she would be interested in. But reflecting on what she was proposing, I would literally have to change the entire book in order for her to even think it's what she wants, I think. And it kind of made me realize a couple things. I mean, of course, I literally like started to cry. I was like, my book sucks. Yeah, my book sucks. And it's not actually Robin Hood retelling. La da 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 da. And I was kind of reflecting on my story, and I definitely think, of course, there's things I want to change in the story and things that I need to work on, but I don't want to take out the core of my book and like replace everything and scrap this one character that, if she read the book, would understand how important she is and integral to the plot, because without her, everything falls apart. And I was just really frustrated with myself, with my, I don't know, me even sending this book and manuscript that was so dear to my heart, so freshly finished, to this agent, and her replying with, look, I understand she was only trying to help, and you know, it's good to get feedback and good to get a new perspective, but I really don't think it was the right decision for me in light of what she had said about my book. And it was just, yeah, I don't even know what to think anymore. Like, it was just not a good moment, because I was like, this is not my book, and I'm not going to change all of that just in case if you would consider me. And I'm like, no, this is not good. But it also made me realize that maybe, look, there are big Robin Hood like retelling sort of elements in my story in Project BB, but I think now it's more of a Robin Hood inspired retelling. It's not strictly exactly the original, but just like the Disney movie, like it's a bit different, you know. It's not exactly the Merry Men, all of this stuff. It's like a retelling, like it's supposed to be different. So I think I need more feedback on whether or not it is enough of a retelling to call it a retelling, or if I've been phrasing it too much to that extent to kind of misjudge, even though I've told her the synopsis again. She basically said that this is not what I was expecting at all, when I'm like, I told you what happened in the book. And during that time, I also uploaded a video like all about my fantasy book, which was just my second last video. And I did get a hate comment on my book by somebody in particular. And I'm pretty good with hate comments. But when it came to my book that I just finished and I worked so hard on, and I was just sharing with people, like at that, like just coming to share, that comment like literally killed me so much. And I hate how it did. And I hate how that person, you know, just kind of crushed my soul without even knowing what the book was about, or the fact that all that they were saying was just pretense. And that comment was basically saying how weak my book was, and how weak these characters were, and how it was so just like tropey and had no substance. And oh my gosh, I'm like, you haven't even read the book yet. Like, can you relax just a second? But that, in couplement with the agent and just like the lack of encouragement, really did crush my soul a lot with Project BB. So I've been actually struggling a lot with my writing mental health. I don't even know how to say it, but it's kind of like that sort of writing confidence. It kind of just got shattered literally a few weeks after I finished this manuscript. So that's why I really was blessed, and I felt like really I needed that break during the big trip, that 2-week trip, to kind of take a break from my fantasy projects and all my bigger projects, and just focus on something so untethered and something so fun, like a rom-com story, which I wrote with Ashley. So yeah, that's kind of like what I've been struggling with. So therefore, in terms of goals, I don't think I want to work on Project BB. At least until I get over this sort of mental block and this, yeah, I don't know. This is so depressing. Okay. But even so, in terms of my goals, I think I might want to work on another fantasy project. Yes. Yes, I might just do that. Instead of going into draft 2 of Project BB, which was what I literally planned to do once I got back from Korea, I think I'm going to work on a Project CY, which was that project I started at the start of the year. It's a high fantasy, kind of still the same vibe, but a completely different story. And if you guys must know, I might give a little sneak peek into what the sort of story is. But it is Angels X King Arthur mythology. So interesting to me. So I'm very excited to see how that plays in with this sort of like angelic biblical mythology. Just kind of like imagery and like being a Christian as well. It's just going to be such a fun project. So I think that's definitely something that is just refreshing and something I definitely would love to just jump into. So that's Project CY, which is this vibe. Maybe I'll put it on the screen. But through that, I also maybe want to also see if I can work on Ghost Side in any capacity and see if I can finish the 4th draft, I think. If you guys don't know, Ghost Side is a book that I wrote during 2022 of NaNoWriMo, I believe. And it's been with me ever since. It's a huge, amazing part of my life and I love it. But I hope to kind of maybe get it ready for beta readers, question mark. That could be fun. I feel like you guys are really interested in the project. So I want to get it to a sort of form that you guys can read and really enjoy. And I want to see if I can just get feedback and see what I can do from there in terms of publishing it in some capacity. So that's also really exciting. And I think just in a general, my third sort of general goal next half of this year is just to write more consistently throughout my studies. And I feel like I did this quite well last year, where I just kind of was writing before class, after class, and especially during weekends. And I just got really inspired from my South Korea trip with Ash of just going on coffee dates and just going on, these solo writing dates. And I just want to do that more this year and kind of just have more fun with it, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure if this will help or not, but I want to maybe trial run creating a writing Excel spreadsheet to see if I can track my word counts and at least all the projects I'm working on, because sometimes it's a lot for my brain and it's difficult to kind of separate it, especially being a student. It's just always so stressful. So I'm seeing if that can maybe help out, but I've just heard about spreadsheets being helpful for writers, and at least what I learned from writing Project BB, I felt like I was extremely, like it helped a lot kind of keeping track of my word count and having word count goals. So maybe the next goal is also to write around 2,000 words every day to 2 days. I feel like that's manageable. If I have a project I'm working on, I realize that I don't write a lot unless I have a project I'm set on finishing. So hopefully that's what Project CY will be. I have finished plotting the story and I think I can really get back into it. And I'm just really excited to see how that turns out. So yeah, hopefully writing like 2K words, every couple days and being more loose with that, because another goal that I also have is to not get sick and run down. And yeah, I just don't want to get sick because I have already been sick since coming back from Korea because I've just been overworked. And I am very busy being a student, a writer, a content creator. I have to take care of this whole house on my own, my puppy and everything. I also have new commitments with the internship. I also am volunteering at my church every single Sunday. So like it's gonna be a lot. And I kind of do have like chronic fatigue. I don't even know what it is, but I had mono when I was in the Netherlands. And that took me out for like over a whole month. I just could not get up from my bed. And I do have this thing, and it's just, I don't want to get there again, essentially, ever. Because in that video, the sort of 2025 goal video at the start of the year that I filmed, I was watching that and I kind of mentioned how I also didn't want to get overworked. So it seems that I'm still working on it, because I remember last semester, I was so stressed about this one law assignment. It was like constitution law. Yeah, that could put me in a coma, just those 2 words. I worked on that document for like 30 hours and I was so stressed about it that I got sick and had to go to the doctor. So, yeah. And yeah, I don't know, my health is something that definitely takes the brunt of my busyness, because a lot of people ask me like, Anna, how do you do all this? And it's really lovely when I hear like my friends telling me how, yeah, I was talking to my friend actually about insecurities and how one of my biggest insecurities is actually my goals, and especially my author dreams, my YouTube dreams, my dreams to like live overseas. And he was like, Anna, like you're the one person that I know like has their dreams like set out. And he was just so sweet, just saying how, yeah, I'm like the last person he would think would be insecure about my dreams. But yeah, it's something I'm working on. I feel like when you work really hard, sometimes you get insecure about the reward you get from that. It's just like a subconscious thing. But I know how stressful I'm gonna get with all my co-curricular activities and with uni as well. But I'm planning a really exciting Euro trip at the end of the year, so hopefully that will make up for all of this stress at the end of the day. Isn't that right, puppy? Isn't that right? But anyways, that is the video. I feel like I've talked your ears off. It was super fun just to catch up with you guys. I missed you guys so much while I was in Korea because obviously I wasn't uploading for a few weeks. But thank you for your patience and thank you for all the support on that documentary video of Project BB and all your encouragement, despite my own lack of such things. Thanks for all the comments on my South Korea vlog. I do have the whole vlog coming out soon, yet to edit that. But I just love travel vlogs. Even though they don't do very well on my channel, I'm still like, I want to upload them. So let me do what I want. But I wish you guys luck in this new year, in this next half of the year. And I hope you yeah, have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. But I love you all and I'm very excited for all the upcoming writing vlogs with my new project. Okay, bye everyone, love ya!